Hello everyone. Good evening guys. I'm sharing my screen. So we need to get started with navigation in Fusion Cloud today, guys. Let me just close the other tabs that we don't need. Yeah. So in today's session, we're going to focus on, so we did a brief intro session yesterday. And I did talk about what is ERP, what is Oracle Fusion HCM Cloud application. And yeah, we did 1 hour 10-minute session, and I covered everything that you need to know related to ERP Fusion Cloud. And I did cover, I did discuss in detail what exactly we're going to cover as part of the course and all that. In today's session, what we do is we will be focusing on the Fusion navigation within the Fusion Cloud application. So the first thing that I do is I would access a Fusion Cloud application URL, and I would be entering a username and password to get into the application. Now, what's the username that I use, guys, here? I will be using a HCM implementation user. Okay, I'm just entering a username. But now just remember that I'm entering a username and password. And when we get started with security from tomorrow, guys, I'll be talking about user creation and all the security stuff. We're going to talk about it in detail tomorrow. But for now, just remember that I'm entering a username and password, and I'm trying to get into the application. The moment you log into Fusion Cloud application, guys, this is a home page you get to see. Okay, so whenever a client gets an application, this is how the application would look like. And in the application, there will be a Vision or an Oracle logo. And there will be a default theme. There will be a default theme that will be applied in the application. There will be a default logo, and there will be an Oracle favicon in there. And there would also be this background image you see, a dark green background image with those dots in there. Okay. So whenever a client gets a Fusion application from Oracle, it comes with a default logo, default favicon, default theme, and default look and feel. Please note that you can change the appearance of the application. And of course, every client, in fact, would ask us to do that. So if I are doing implementation for Emerson, obviously they would say, Prasad, I want to see my logo here. And I don't like this homepage layout, change it. And they would give you their favicon, Emerson favicon, and you have to upload that here. So yes, when client gets an application from Fusion, when client gets a Fusion application from Oracle, it comes with a default look and feel, but you can certainly change it. Okay, and how do we customize the user interface of the application, guys? We will be covering it in detail when we do the UI customizations topic. When we do UI customizations topic, we'll talk about how to use a sandbox to change the appearance of the application. We'll also talk about how to make a page level changes as well in detail. But today, let's try to understand that, yes, this is an application that we have got from Oracle. This is an application that we have got from Oracle, and it has a default look and feel. And let's try to understand the navigation here. And many of you might be looking at the application for the first time. So I'll be going at a slow pace, and I'll be covering the concepts in detail. The first thing that you see when you log in is you will be able to see the username with which you log in, and there is a welcome message saying good evening Prasad or good evening HCM user. And what you see in the central area here, the part that I'm highlighting, this particular part on the home page is called as a Springboard page. First of all, there is a homepage layout assigned. There's a default homepage layout assigned to the Fusion application. And the default homepage layout that you get in Fusion Cloud is called as Newsfeed. And this is exactly how that Newsfeed homepage layout looks like. And in the Newsfeed homepage layout, in the main portion, in the central portion here, you would see a Springboard. And in the Springboard, what is it that we get to see, guys? In the Springboard, you would be seeing a groups. So for example, in the Springboard, we see a groups like me, procurement, my client group, and so on. So you see the groups. And within the groups, you will see individual pages. So if you go to my client group, guys, all the HR related work areas you will be able to find here. HR related work areas are pages. So if I go into my client group, I see that there's an option to hire a new employee, update existing employees, and so on. So in the Springboard, what is it that we see, guys? You will be able to see groups like me, procurement, and so on. And in each group, you will be able to see a required pages. So for example, whenever an employee logs into the application, or when they go into me section, they should be able to edit the personal information. They should be able to add an absence, and they should be able to view their payslips and so on. So the point is, whenever a user logs in, a HR logs in, or an employee logs in, they will be able to see groups within the home page in the Springboard. So you have groups, and within the groups, you have pages. And when you go to the pages, you will have, you would be able to see, you say, for example, if I go into new person here, and if I click on, so when I go to new person, it asks me, assume that I'm a HR of Emerson who has logged in here. And I want to hire an employee. So when you say new person, application is asking me, Prasad, what is it that you want to hire? Do you want to hire a permanent employee, or do you want to hire a contractor, and so on? So it is asking me which type of employee I want to hire. And if I say that I want to hire a permanent employee, it would take me to a page where I can fill in the information, and I can go ahead and complete the employee hire process. So this way, when you go to the Fusion application, what is it that we get to see, guys? Right within the home page, you see a Springboard, and in the Springboard, you see groups, and within the groups, you see individual pages. And in those pages, you will be able to find the required information. So if I go to person management screen, what do we see, guys? I see that there is an option for me to search for an employee. And if I want to change the location of an employee, I can search for it, and I can go ahead and edit that employee. Okay, so that's what you normally find in a Springboard. Well, one problem with Springboard is it'll be slightly difficult to navigate around in the application using Springboard. So for example, assume that I'm a HR of Emerson, and let's say I need to create a user for, let's say I need to create a new user for one of the employee. And where do you create users from, guys? I need to click on this arrow mark multiple times. You see, I'm clicking on it 4 times, and I click on tools, and under tools, you see that there is a screen called security console. And this is a page from where you create users, guys. This is a page from where you create users. Okay. So the point is, you go to tools, and in the tools, you have security console. And in the security console, we have an option to create a new user. Okay, so I can go to users, and I can create a new user as a HR for the employees. But if I go back to the home page, you see how many mouse clicks are required to go to that particular page, guys. So the point is, when I log into the application, by default, I'll be in the sales group. So how many mouse clicks I have to spend? I need to click on this arrow mark once, twice, thrice, 4 times. Then I click on tools. And after I click on tools, I have security console here. I can click on it now. So I need to spend 5 mouse clicks to go to the page. But it is far more easier to go to a specific page if you use a navigator. So this is a Springboard. And another option that you have in Fusion application is before the logo, you see that there is a burger icon. And when you click on that burger icon, what do we see, guys? You see a navigator opens up. This is what we call as a navigator. And whatever groups that you see within the Springboard here, the groups and the pages that you see within them, the groups and the pages you see would be visible in the navigator also. So what are the groups that we see, guys? We see sales group, Redwood sales, service, me, right? So when I click on the menu option, we see the same navigation option, sales, Redwood sales, service, me, and so on. But the benefit is, if I want to go to any specific page, say for example, if I have to create a user, what do I do, guys? I can just scroll down directly. I don't need to spend any mouse clicks. I just scroll down and I can directly go to tools and I can click on security console. Isn't this easier, guys, to go to a specific page? Isn't it easier than the Springboard, guys? In the Springboard, I have to click on this many times and then I go to tools, then I click on security console. But if I use Navigator, it is far more easier for me to go to that specific page. I click on the Navigator and all I do is just scroll it down one shot and I expand the tools and I click on security console. And when I click on security console, what do I see? It would take me back to the same page, meaning with just one mouse click, I can go to the page that I need in the Navigator. Okay, I just click on it and I can even click on show more, and that would expand all the groups, and I can even do a control F and I can search for security console, and that would highlight the security console for you directly. So this way, it will be easy for you to navigate around in the application if you use Navigator when compared to a Springboard. That's the second bit, guys. And in the Navigator also, you have the same groups and pages. Now, the third option that you have to go down to a specific page is by using a search bar here. Now, when you click on a search bar here, what do we see, guys? It says that we can search for people and we can search for actions. Now, let's say I want to search for a specific page. I want to search for something called a security console. I'll talk about searching for people in a moment. So if I want to go to security console, and if I don't want to use the Springboard or the Navigator, one more thing that I can do is I can go to the search box and I can just directly type in the page that I want to go into. I want to go to security console, and when I search for it, it would directly show me the security console. And when I click on it, it would take me to the same page again, and I can go ahead and create a user. So this is a third easy way to go to the page that you need in Fusion Cloud. Okay, 3 different ways, guys. Use the Springboard, use the Navigator, or use the search option at the top. These are the 3 ways you go to a specific page that you need. And another important option that we have is another easy way to access the pages is if it is a page that you have to access frequently. So for example, if there are, say, 10 pages that I need to access frequently. So assume that I'm a HR of Emerson and assume that there are 10 actions that I need to perform very frequently on a daily basis. What are those actions, guys? A few actions that I have to perform would be, as a HR, what are the few actions that I might have to perform? I might have to hire employees on a daily basis. I might have to update them. I might have to create users in the security console. And I might also have to run some processes in the application. So as a HR, let's assume that not just these 4, there are plenty of them. But as an example, let's assume that these are the 4 applications or 4 pages that you need to process. These are the 4 actions that you need to perform very frequently on a daily basis. So what is it that you can do? In such cases, what I can do is, first day when I log in, I can go to those pages. So for example, when I hire my first employee, I can go to my client groups. I can click on new person and I can hire an employee from here. So I go to a specific page, and after I go to a specific page, what is it that I can do, guys? Since this is a page that I want to access very, very frequently, one obvious thing that I can do is I can go to the star mark and I can go to favorites and I can add this particular page to favorites. Now tell me one thing, guys, on your browser, do you have a favorites listed down, guys? All of you would have bookmarks on your browser, right? So whatever are the pages that you want to access very frequently, you would be bookmarking them. That is exactly the same thing that we are doing here. We can go to our pages that we access frequently, and all we have to do is mark that particular page and add it as a favorite here. So you are in hire an employee page. And what is it that you want to do now? I want to add it as a favorite. So I click on add to favorites. And that page will be added as a favorite, and a bookmark link would be added here. And it will be very easy for me to go to this page from tomorrow onwards. I can add the pages as favorites in the same, I can put them directly in here. Or if I want to have separate folders for different modules, maybe I want to add pages of one module in one folder, absence management in another folder, and so on. You can create new folders and you can store those bookmarks in those folders as well if you want. But if I don't create a new folder and if I add it directly here, I say save and close, that would still be adding that, adding this page as a favorite there. Now, from any page that you are in, if you want to go back to a home page, you should be clicking on that particular home page. And when you click on that home button, it would take you back to the home page. Any page you are in, if you want to come back to a home page, this is a button that you have to hit. So let's say I also want to, usually on a daily basis, I would be updating employees as well as a HR. This is another key duty that I have to perform. So what do? I go to this particular page and I can click on the menu option and I can even add this to the favorites. Okay. Or it is called as search person, meaning I can search for a person and update it. I can save and close it. And similarly, creating a user is another thing that I would be doing very frequently on a daily basis. So as a HR, whatever are the actions that I have to perform very frequently on a daily basis, what do I do, guys? I should go to that particular page first time. And after you go to that, you go ahead and add them to the favorites. And once you add them to a favorites, what would happen, guys? I go in here and I try to add it to the favorite. And after you do that, from tomorrow onwards, okay, day one, I do this. All the 10 or 15 pages that I use very frequently, I add them to the favorites. And from tomorrow onwards, when I log in, what would I do, guys? It will be very, very easy for me to navigate in the application from tomorrow. If I have to update an employee, I just click on favorites. I don't search for that option in the Springboard or the Navigator. I don't need to type anything in the search box. I just click on the favorites here and I can choose any of these options. If I want to hire an employee, I click on this. It takes me to hire an employee page. If I want to update an employee, what is it that I would do? I would just go into that particular navigation option and I would just hit the search person button. That's going to show you employee page. So this way, favorites would help you quite a bit, guys. Makes your life very, very easy when you want to navigate around in the application. It would be very, very easy. And apart from favorites, you also have one more option called as recent items here. Now this is like a history within the application, guys. So after you log into Fusion Cloud, what are all the pages that you have accessed recently? You will be able to find that in the history here. So what are the pages that we have gone into today, guys? So we went into hire an employee page, we went into new person, we went into hire an employee again, users, roles. So these are all the pages that we visited just now. So whatever are the pages that you visited recently, you will be able to find that in the recent item. So this is more like in a browser. Do you have a history, guys? Do you have a history maintained in a browser? So this is something similar to it. This is something similar to it that you see in the history there. So when would this come handy? Say, for example, if you're trying to do a task and maybe midway you realize that you have to do some other task before this. Maybe you go from page 1 to page 2. Now you want to go back to page 1. So instead of you searching for the page 1 in here or in the search box, I can just click on this and I can go to recent items and I can click on page 1. So this way, it will be easy for you to navigate around in the application. And another option that you have in this search box is you can search for actions. And apart from actions, meaning apart from searching for the pages, I can even search for people as well. So assume that there is an employee Curtis. And what are we assuming here, guys? Assuming that we are assuming that we are a HR of Emerson, and we have logged into the application. We are a HR of Emerson. We have logged into the application. And as a HR of Emerson, how exactly we would be performing the actions, navigating around in the application is what we are trying to examine today. Okay. So for example, as a HR, let's say I need to update, say, location of one of the employee. Maybe there's an employee called Curtis VT, and he has moved from one location to another location, and I need to update his location in the application. So to update an employee, what is it that I do, guys? One obvious thing that I can do is I can go to my client group, person management. I can search for an existing employee. And I can pick up that specific employee record. And after I pick up the employee record, I'll be able to see all the employee details here. I can see what is his work location. Assume that this employee has moved from Chicago to New York. What is it that I would do? I can go ahead and try to update an employee. And I say that this employee, I'm trying to update him with today's date. What is it that I'm trying to do? I'm trying to change the location of an employee because worker has requested for it. So I have to do so many steps here, guys. I need to go to person management screen, search for an employee, open it up. I click on update. I need to select the dates and I click OK. Then it will open up the location. And after that, I can change the location of an employee. But the point is there any other easier option? I can go ahead and change the location now. But instead of doing so many steps, is there any other option that we can do, guys? That's exactly where you can use the search box to search for people directly instead of actions. So what is it that I can do? I can search for Curtis, and I can search for this employee, Curtis VT. And on this particular employee, I click on the arrow mark. And when I click on the arrow mark, I'll be able to see a lot of things that I can perform as a HR. I can change his salary, I can change his location, I can change his working hours. So anything that I need to perform on any employee, I can just search for the employee and I can click on change location. And the moment I do that, what would happen, guys? Application will directly take me to a page from where I can update the location directly. Okay, I can change the location. So in this particular screen, I can go ahead and update a location. So this way, the point is when you have to do any updates on the application, I can, instead of going into person management screen, and instead of searching for an employee and trying to update it from there, we can directly search for that employee. And on an employee, when you click on this arrow mark, there are hundreds of things that you can perform. Okay. So that's about the navigation options, guys. And let's focus on these bits now. So we already covered this home page. And when you click on this, it shows you the favorites and recent items. And you have something called as a watch list here, guys. What does a watch list mean? And this watch list, this screen is not for you and me, guys. It is for finance users. So when a finance user logs in and when they click on this task, it would show the action items for them. So we don't have anything to do in here. And when you click on this notification icon, what do you see, guys? You would be able to see approval notifications related to you. Okay, so if you log in as an employee or as a HR, so you would be able to see all the notifications here. And the notifications can be of two types, guys. It can be a for your information notification, or it can be for your action notification. For your information means it just tells you that something has happened in the application. It's only for your information. You just have to read the notification and you just have to dismiss it. But apart from this, you would also see for your action notifications here. So for example, if I'm an approver for a job or a position, and if anybody creates a job, it will come to me for approval. I'll be able to see that approval request. It says that some user, say Tom or John has created a job and it is pending for my approval, I'll be able to see approve and reject buttons here. So in the notifications tab, what do you get to see, guys? You would see for your information kind of a notifications or for your action kind of a notifications here. And we would be doing approvals a topic after we are done with the global HR configurations, guys. We would be covering workflow approvals in quite detail. And in that particular session, I'll be talking about how to write a complex rules to work out the approvers. And in that session, we'll also see how the for your action notifications will show up here. Okay. And we do have a phone icon here and a person symbol, ignore them. And you see a username here. And when you click on a username, what do we see, guys? When you click on a username, you see a bunch of options. The first key thing in this particular list is about this application. Now, when you click on about this application, it's going to show you the details of the application. Now, you need to understand which version of a Fusion application are we going to use as part of the training course, and what is it that you're going to learn? What is it that you're going to learn? Okay, so we need to. So the point is, you need to understand which version of the application you are using and which release, and that's important. Now, let me give you a little bit of background about a Fusion application history, guys. Oracle started offering this Fusion application. Oracle started offering this Fusion application from 2011. And until 2017, there was an option for our clients to install this Oracle Fusion application as an on-premise. As an on-premise option, meaning if clients want it, they can buy the required servers from Oracle, and on those servers, they could install a Fusion application and they can use it. And Oracle was giving an option to the clients to install this Fusion application as an on-premise option until 2017. In fact, I was driving that project for British Telecom sitting in London office, and that was the last on-prem implementation that we have done for a Fusion applications. But after 2017, Oracle has stopped offering a Fusion application as an on-prem version. And from that point onwards, clients can only use a Fusion application in cloud. Okay. Now, when you look at a Fusion application, guys, there are two things that we see here. You see a release. Okay, you see a release, and the release of the application that we are using is 13B. What is the release of the application we are using? 13B. And remember, guys, the release of our application is not going to change very frequently. We've been having this release for quite some time now, and it's going to remain the same for next few years also. Release doesn't keep changing. It's a 13th release of the application that we are using at the moment, 13B. Now, when it comes to version number, there are two things that you see in the version number, guys. You see a 2 digits and you see a character there. You see a character there. Now, the first 2 digits indicates the year. 26 indicates the year. And the letter that we have here, it indicates in which quarter we have got that version. In which quarter we have got that version. Okay. So in every year, how many quarters do we have, guys? Every year. So let's say in 2025, how many quarters you will have? 4 quarters, right? January to March, April to June, July to September, October to December. So these are the 4 quarters that you would have in every year. And the same repeats for 2026 also. So whenever, and what Oracle does is it follows a quarterly upgrade policy for Fusion application. So what it means is every quarter, Oracle is going to release a new version of the Fusion application. Now, which year and which quarter are we in now, guys? Please do respond, guys. Which quarter and which year are we in? We are in 2026. And March is first quarter, right?
Quarter one.
So since we are in a 2026 first quarter, the version number would be 26. That would indicate the year. That would indicate the year that we are in. And since it is a first quarter, it would be named as A. So the version that we get in a first quarter of any year will be 2 digits of that year plus alphabet A. And when we get once it is April, after a couple of weeks from now, the moment it is April, Oracle would upgrade the Fusion application from 26A to 26B. And since it is a new version that we are getting in the second quarter of 2026, we're going to call it as 26B. We would call it as 26B. And in the third quarter of the application, when we in July, we'll get the version gets upgraded. And what would be its version number? It will be 26. The year will not change. It will be 26A, 26B, 26D, and 26C, and 26D. So to keep it simple, year on year, whatever is a release of every quarter, there would be a upgrade. Oracle is going to upgrade the Fusion application every quarter. And whenever they upgrade the application, what would be the version number? The version number would be 2 digits for the year. A, B, C, and D indicates in which quarter you got that version. Since we are in the first quarter of 2026, we see the version number is 26A. Come April, the version number would automatically change to 26B, and Oracle would have released new features into it. That's the story behind the versioning, guys. So which version of the application are we going to use in the training sessions? To keep it simple, we are using the best and the latest version available in the market today. Yes, it is release 13B. It is version 26A that we are using. And once we are in April, first week or second week, the application will also automatically be upgraded to 26B. And from April onwards, we will be using 26B, which is that latest version in the training sessions. So what you learn as part of the course is not some outdated version, but the actual live latest version of the application we're going to use in the training sessions. And the same application you would be using to practice as well. And yeah, that's about the versioning concept. And Oracle has a quarterly upgrade policy for Fusion applications. And when you click on the dropdown, we also have one more option here called as applications, guys. And this is a very, very important link. And when you click on applications help, what is it that Fusion application is going to do? It is going to take you to the standard Oracle documentation link. And here you will be able to see all the offerings that Oracle has. And if I'm interested in HCM related stuff, I can go to HR. And in the HR, we again have an option to see the documentation from different standpoints. So if I'm an end user of a HCM application, I can go ahead and look at this documentation. Implementation consultant, I can check this out. So if we are going to become implementation consultants after the course is done. So when you are doing the setups in the application, say for example, if you're configuring an absence plan, and if you don't know what a specific field means, what is it that I can do? Yes, of course, if you attend all the training sessions, you would know what that field means. But just in case you're not able to recollect what has been explained by Prasad in the training sessions and you want to understand what that is, what can you do in such cases, guys? I can go to implement and I can click on absence management, go to the page, documentation page, and you would have a detailed documentation given by Oracle for everything. So for example, if I'm setting up an absence plan, and if I'm not able to understand maybe what exactly a carryover means, and I was not able to understand the options given by Oracle in that page. In such case, what do? A required documentation is only a couple of clicks away. All you have to do is click on this, go to the relevant module, go to the specific topic, and you can read more about it. What exactly carryover is going to help you with an absence management, absence plans, guys? It basically helps employees to transfer unused leaves from one year to the next year, from this year to the next year. So that's exactly what a carryover means. So in case you're not clear on any of those terms, referring back to the documentation is quite easy. Click on the username, go to application help, a new tab opens up, and from here I can go to HR and I can look at the relevant documentation. Okay. And apart from this, we also have an option of we see an administration section. I'll be talking about this in detail later on in the course. And we do have few additional options here, guys, that you don't have to really worry about. So this is all about the navigation that you need to know, guys. Now that we have a comfort level with the navigation in Fusion HCM Cloud, let's get started with the security part. Let's get started with the security part. And what is the first simple thing that we're going to do? Assume that we have logged in as a HR of Emerson. And what is it that we need to do? We need to, yes, we have logged in as a HR of Emerson, and assume that one of you joined Emerson. Okay, assume that there is an employee called John Doe who has joined Emerson. Let's avoid personal names. I say John Doe. Assume that John Doe has joined Emerson as an employee. So we need to create a user for him. So what do I do as a HR? Yes, I logged into the application and I need to create a user for John Doe who has joined Emerson as an employee. So how do I create a user how do I create a user in the application, guys? There are plenty of options, right? I can click on the navigator. I can go to security console. I can use this Springboard to go to tools and security console, or I can search for security console from here. I'm just showing you all the possibilities. I can go to that specific page, either using Springboard or Navigator, or I can search for it here. And if it has been added as a favorite, I can even go to favorites and I can even click on that as well. So 4 different ways to go to a specific page in the application. I'm not trying to confuse you. I'm just trying to reiterate the same concept multiple times so that it sits in your brain. Okay. So I'm in a users tab here. I'm a HR of Emerson and I'm here to create a user for John Doe who has joined as an employee in Emerson. Now, how do we create a user, guys? I click on add user account and I have to enter a username and password. And what's the username that we enter, guys? I enter John, I enter Doe here. Now, do you see any magic happening on the screen, guys? I entered the first name and the last name. As I enter first name and the last name, the moment after I enter a first name and last name, the moment I tap out, what is it that we see, guys? Let's change it to 1 here. The moment I enter a first name and last name and tab out, do you see a username getting generated here, guys, automatically? Yes or no? Let me change the last name. And you see the username getting generated automatically. How is it that it is getting generated, guys? Do you see any pattern there? I won't proceed, guys, until you answer. Is there any pattern that you see there? What's the pattern that we have? First name is John, last name is Doe. What is the pattern that we see?
It is first name and last name.
First
Dot
name
last
dot
name.
last name.
First name dot last name. Now the point is, who has told HCM that I want the username to be generated as first name dot last name? Well, that is mentioned in the user category. So when you are defining a user, you will be choosing a user category, and that user categories would be available here. So if you go to that user category, you will see a username generation rule mentioned there. And let me show you that. And I'll stay in this particular screen. And I will go ahead and open the Fusion application again. I'll open the Fusion application again. And I would go to a security console. Okay, I go to security console again. I've just kept that tab open because I want to keep referring back to it. So I can click on the favorites here. I can click on users. That would take me back to the user screen again. And we go to user categories. And in the user category, what is the user category that I'm using to create this user default, right? So I go to the default user category, and in the default user category, we see that there are a few things that are mentioned. We'll talk about all of them, guys. So when you go to user category, the first thing that we see is if I edit this, there is a username generation rule attached here. Now, what's the username generation rule that is attached here, guys? There are 4 options to choose from. What is the option that is chosen? That is selected first name dot last name. Since the option that is selected is first name dot last name here, what do you see happening here, guys? The moment I enter John as a first name, last name as Doe, I'm able to see the username generated as John.Doe here. That's because the username generation rule is first name dot last name. What if I change it to email, guys? What if I change it to email? I changed it to email. Let's go ahead and try to create an user again. And I enter John, I enter Doe, and I'm going to enter the email address of John Doe. And let's say this is his email address. Assume that this is his email address. Now, the moment I enter an email and tab out, what is the username that is generated now, guys? What's the username that we see? Is it email? Yeah, it is not a first name dot last name that we are seeing. Instead, it is the email that is getting defaulted as a username here. Now, how did this change take effect? Because I went to the user category, and in the user category, I said, use email as a username. That's why you see this behavior. So how exactly the username should get generated for a user when you create it, when a HR creates it, is going to be controlled from here. Now, what would happen if you mention it as, say, F last name? What does F means, guys? F means a first letter from the first name and the complete last name. If I go ahead and save and close, let's just try this one last time. I go ahead and try to create a user. I would enter the first name as John and last name as Doe. And the moment I enter John Doe, what is the username that is generated, guys? It is first name. What did I choose here? What did I choose here? I'm not sure if any of you have a recording turned on. You don't need to record it, guys. You don't need to record it, guys. Nitin, I think you don't unmute yourself because I can hear my voice back. Okay, looks like there is a problem with your audio. Okay, so please don't unmute yourself. And in case you have a recording turned on, you can turn it off because we would be recording the session and will be giving you access to them anyways. You are unnecessarily wasting your resources at your end. Okay. Now, if you go to a username generation rule here, since I changed it to F last name, what's going to happen, guys? Meaning it's going to pick up the first letter from the first name, J from John, and it's going to pick up the complete last name, J Doe. That's how it is getting created. So how exactly you want the username to be created can be controlled from here. So I'm going to change it back to, say, first name dot last name. I'm going to click on save and close. And I'll go back and try to create a user with a name as John Doe. And I would also enter an email here. And I would enter an email that I use to monitor the notifications. Okay, so I would be entering an email that I can access, because what I want to show you is as soon as you create a user, there will be a welcome email sent to the employee or sent to the user on this particular email address. Ideally, you would be entering the email address of John here. But since we don't have a John to open his email and show it in a session, I'm entering an email that I have access to so that I can show you that welcome email. And I enter the welcome email. I enter an email address on which I want to receive the notification. You can capture a phone number. Username is defaulted as first name dot last name John dot Doe. Leave it that way. And you can enter a password. And even the password, how complex the password should be. What is the password complexity? You see the password policy that has been selected as simple here. This is also something that you can control from the user category. If you go to password policy, here you can mention how exactly you want the password, how complex the password needs to be. You can mention it here. So if you say password complexity simple, what does it mean, guys? Password complexity simple means a password has to be at least 8 characters and there has to be one number in it. So I would be entering the password as welcome1 here. And I would be entering the same password, welcome1. I enter a password and I confirm it. And to the user, to John Doe, I need to assign a role here, guys. See, the point is, after you create a user, when that user logs into Fusion application, what do they get to see in the application is controlled by the roles assigned to the user. Okay, it's a role-based access control that you have in Fusion Cloud. Role-based access control. Shortcut is RBAC, meaning when whatever roles you assign to the user, those roles are going to control what exactly user gets to see when they log into the application. Now, since we are hiring John Doe as an employee, what is it that I should do, guys? I should be assigning an employee role to him. I should be searching for an employee role and I assign it to him. Now, when I search for employee role, I could see that there are 2 roles coming up here. Name is same, but when you look at the role code, you see that one of them doesn't have Aura underscore at the beginning. Another one has Aura underscore. Now, why are you seeing the duplicate roles, guys? When you search for the role here, why are you seeing duplicates here? I'll be answering this question in tomorrow's session because I need at least 15-20 minutes for it. And there are a few more things that you need to know in security before you understand that bit. So the point is, when you search for a role in the dropdown here, when you search for any role, it is quite possible that you might see duplicates. One role will be there without Aura underscore like this, and one role will have Aura underscore. Okay, one has Aura underscore, one doesn't have it. Now the point is, when you choose any specific, so okay, when you see duplicates, a thumb rule is you should always choose a role that starts with Aura underscore. Now, if you ask Prasad, why the hell are we seeing duplicate roles? First of all, tomorrow by this time, you know the answer. And for now, just remember that you have to pick up a role that starts with Aura underscore. And this role that we are choosing here is called as an abstract role, guys. In a Fusion application, there are different types of roles that are possible. Okay, there are different types of roles we have in Fusion Cloud, guys. You have abstract roles, job role, duty role, and so on. And we'll be talking about that in the next few sessions in detail. Now, the first role that we are trying to add to a user is an employee role. Now, why is this a role? Employee, contractor, or a line manager, why are they called as abstract roles, guys? They are called as abstract roles because if Emerson hires 1 lakh employees, we will be assigning the same employee role to all 1 lakh employees. And this role is going to give access of a bare minimum screens to an employee. Like whenever an employee logs in, they should be able to see me section, they should be able to see pay slips, they should be able to apply for a leave and so on, right? So whatever are the bare minimum screens that every employee should be able to see in an application, user gets access to it if he assign this employee role. And since this role is not giving access to any module functionality, John Doe is not going to get access to payroll or is not going to get access to absences. It is a role that we are assigning to him to give access of bare minimum screens that every employee should access. I want to give access of those screens to John Doe. And how am I doing it? I'm doing it by assigning an abstract role called employee. What are the other abstract roles we have, guys? Contractors, line managers, etc. So why are they called abstract? Because they give access of bare minimum screens that should be visible to an employee, line manager, or contingent worker. It doesn't give access to any modules. It doesn't give access to payroll or a general ledger or accounts receivable module. And that's why it's called as an abstract role. So you choose that specific role and you click on add role membership. And I'm going to hit save and close. Now, the moment you do this, what would happen? John Doe will immediately receive a welcome email on this email address. And in that welcome email, there will be a link to reset the password as well. So you see the username is created. The user is created for John Doe. And John Doe he would have received an email notification on this particular email address. So let me log into the email, guys. Log into that Gmail, and I'm going to share my screen back again in a moment. Now you see here, guys, this is an email that I've received at 0 minutes ago. So this is an email that I've received on this particular email address. Whatever is the email address that I've entered when I created a user on this email, I've received this welcome email. And what does it say, guys? It says Vision welcome email. It says, Dear John Doe, congratulations, your account is created. And there is also a link given that we can use to reset the password. So what can John Doe do, guys? He can copy the link and he can try to access it. And when he clicks on a link, what does it show him, guys? It would show him an option to reset the password. So what does it mean, guys? It means that Prasad has created a user for John. Prasad is a HR of Emerson and he has created a user for John Doe. And Prasad, as a HR, need not tell John Doe that his password is welcome1. Instead, when he receives a welcome email, in that email, there is a link to reset the password. And John Doe can very well reset his password and set it to the one that he likes. So let's say I reset the password to welcome123. Let's say I reset the password to welcome123. And I go ahead and submit it. And after the password is reset, what is it that we can do? So yes, the password reset is done. And then he would be taken back to the login page again. Now he would be entering his username and a password so that he can get into the HR system of Emerson. So as an employee, John Doe is trying to log into the HR system of Emerson. And what is expected of an employee to do in a HR system? All of you are working, right? What do you do in your company HR system, guys? You will be viewing your pay slips. You will be applying for a leave. You will be raising requests to procure some stationery and so on. So what is it that John Doe is able to see in the application? To this particular user, since we have assigned only one role, which is an employee abstract role, whatever are the screens that an employee should be able to see in a HR system, he is able to see only those bare minimum screens. How many groups is he able to access, guys? Only 4 groups. And even in those 4 groups, there are only a bare minimum screens that he should be able to access. So whatever screens that should be visible to an employee in a HCM application, he is able to access them. When I logged into a Fusion application here as a HR, what is it that I get to see, guys? Or as an administrator, when I log in here, what is it that I get to see here? I'm able to see not one group, guys. I'm able to see 20 groups here. And I'm able to see plenty of pages, and I can do anything that I want here because I've logged in as an administrator here. But when an employee logs in, so whenever a user logs in, guys, the roles that are assigned to the user will control what they get to see within the application, what groups they get to see, and what actions they can perform within the application will be controlled by roles assigned to the user. And that's exactly what we call as role-based access control. Since to this particular user, only employee role is assigned, whatever are the bare minimum screens that should be visible to the employee, he is able to see them here. Okay. Now, what is it that we see, guys? You see that John Doe is able to log in and he can see the bare minimum screens. Now we'll stop here for today, guys. Let's not proceed or travel too far ahead because it's just day 2 session. We'll stop here for today. I'll take question and answers now, and tomorrow we will pick it up from here and we will dive deeper into the security concepts. Okay. So if you have any questions, please raise your hand. I'll call out the name. And when you ask the question, ensure that you find a quiet spot. It should not happen that I hear your background noise more than your question. Find a quiet spot first, and then ask the question. After your question is answered, please go back on mute. Shanta Reddy?
Hi, Prashant.
Hi, please go on.
Prashant, for example, if we have two employees with the same name, so the username will be the same for both the employees, right?
In such cases, what would happen is in the user category, there is one more option that you see here, username, password, username generation rule, first name dot last name. And
Okay.
there is one more option which says generate a system username when a generation rule fails. So what it means is, and I tick this, right? So when username generation fails, create a system name. What it means is, if I go ahead and try to create another employee, let's say there's another employee with the same first name and last name. Let's see what happens now. I try to hire a John Doe again. Assume that another employee joined with the same first name, same last name. What's the username that we see here?
Oh, okay. First name dot A, then dot last name.
It would automatically take care of it. And you talk to the second employee and you ask them what is it that they are comfortable with. If they're comfortable with any other name, any other alphabet apart from A, you try to use that particular name. Okay?
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prashant.
Yeah. Shanta Reddy?
Yeah, I was just wanting to understand what you labeled as Springboard and the groups.
Okay, when you log into the application, what you get to see in this particular area. So you see a rectangle that I've drawn.
Yeah.
So this portion is called as a springboard. The term that is used to refer to this is a springboard. Now, within a springboard, you see these tabs. You see these tabs, me, sales, procurement, my client group. These are called as groups.
Okay.
And within the group, you see these info tiles. You see these info tiles or pages. These are called as individual pages. Okay. So it's a springboard. Then you have groups, and within the group, you have pages. The same navigation will be available here also. So if you go in here, you click on the navigator, you see the groups. And within the groups, you see the pages. Exactly same as what we see here.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Nitin? Nitin?
Yeah. Hi, Prasad.
Hi.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Please go on.
Yeah. So I was just checking. So let's say if there is like 5,000, 10,000 employees for Emerson or any client. So we need to do this user role category assignment manually for 5,000 or
There are two aspects to it. First of all, okay, let me answer it partially now. Okay, so first of all, if you have to load employees into the application in bulk, okay, let's say Emerson has 1 lakh employees. How do you load them in bulk into the application? There is a concept called data loaders. If you look at the slide that we have, the last slide that we did yesterday, I spoke about the data loaders, right? So, for example, if a client has client would obviously have a lot of data in their current HR system, which has to be loaded into Fusion Cloud. And 1 lakh employees Emerson has. How do I load them into Fusion Cloud? You would be using HCM data loader or HCM spreadsheet data loader to load the data in bulk into the application. And we would be covering that in detail after we complete the global HR topic. We would be picking up data loaders And in that session, I'll talk about how to load the employees in bulk into the application. Not employees. We'll take jobs as an example, but employees would also work the same way. You just have to prepare a file in a specific format and load it in. And whenever you load employees in bulk into the application, there will be a user that gets created automatically for an employee of Emerson. So that bit will become confusing now. But for now, just remember that, yes, if there are 5,000 employees, you load them using data loaders in bulk. And once that is done, the users will be created automatically. Okay, whenever you hire an employee in the application or whenever you load an employee, users would be created automatically. Okay.
Okay. Makes sense.
Chandana?
Hi, Prasad.
Hi.
So this is related to password settings, which you have shown us, So let's say right now, I think, just wanted to understand how this works. Like, let's say I have some complex password requirements. Let's say I should have 14 to 15 minimum characters, one special character. And so
when you
is this
create a
something?
user, when you create a user, you will be picking up a category.
Okay.
And within the category, you have a security policy attached.
Okay.
Sorry, password policy attached. You can edit it. There are a predefined password policies, complexities given by Oracle. If it is simple, you have minimum 8 characters, 1 digit, meaning welcome 1. If you say a complex, there has to be at least 1 uppercase. So it has to be capital W welcome 1. I'm just giving an example. It doesn't have to be capital W anything. And if it is very complex, you need to have 1 special character. So which means it is welcome W in caps @1. And if you say, and you could say custom. And when you say custom, all the fields open up. And you can mention anything you want. Like you said, you need 14 characters.
Right.
And you need 2 uppercase. So you can plug in any complexity that your client wants.
Understood. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Gayatri?
Yeah, hi Prasad. My question is related to the instance. Actually,
Mhm.
I heard like of Oracle instances, they will refresh for every 15 days like that. So if we are doing any work in that, how it will handle, how we
It
can
is,
handle that?
see, the point is, when you do something when you do something today in the Fusion application, you don't need to have that in the Fusion HCM application for the next 3 months or 6 months. Okay. So when we do a specific module, say for example, when we do a global HR module, we get started with the configurations. We understand, we discuss the requirements, we do all the setups, we do the transactions. And when we move on to absence management module, yes, when we do absences or payroll, there would be some references to other global HR. So for example, when I'm hiring an employee to test the payroll setups, or when I'm hiring an employee to test the absence setups, obviously I have to select a legal employer, meaning which company is hiring the employee. I don't need to necessarily choose the Emerson process management legal entity that I configured in global HR. Instead, since Oracle has given a lot of sample data in the demo instance, I can pick up any of the existing legal entities and I can do the testing here. Okay. So when we do the modules, it's not necessary that you have to use whatever legal entity that you configured in a global HR in absences also. Even if you use any other module, it would work absolutely fine, and it would work exactly the same way as your Emerson process management would have behaved. So absolutely not an issue at all. So it's just that you have to see. We've been doing training sessions using the same demo instances, and we would be giving you access to the same instances, and you would be practicing the same in there. So even if the instance changes, first of all, it doesn't take more than 10-15 minutes for you to repeat the setups that you have configured. Okay, not more than that. And you can just quickly set them up, and you can go ahead and finish off the remaining concepts in it. Okay.
So in real life environment also it will happen the same.
No, in a real life environment, in a real time projects, clients would be getting a dedicated instance from Oracle. For your information, Oracle charges quite a high amount to give a dedicated client instances. Okay, so for example, if Emerson, if you are doing an implementation project for Emerson, the instance that Emerson gets from Oracle would be a dedicated instance. Since they are corporates, they can afford it, but we cannot. And in the dedicated client instances, it will not get refreshed once in 2 weeks or once in 3 weeks. Instead, every quarter it gets upgraded. And unless you explicitly ask them to refresh the instance, they will not do it. Okay.
Okay. And in this training period, any AI kind of knowledge also will be
Oracle
provided?
has no AI. See, the point is, Oracle has already started incorporating AI-related features into the modules. I did talk about that yesterday also. So, for example, when you do performance appraisal or when you are doing compensation review and so on, right? There are in those screens, there are AI assist options already given by Oracle. So wherever you have those AI features incorporated by Oracle into HCM Cloud, when we go to those screens, we will be talking about that in detail.
Yeah. Okay, Prasad. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, guys? Shanta Reddy, is your question answered?
Yes, I'm okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Rupesh, or I'm not sure. RUPE, please go on. Yeah.
No, Rupesh. Yeah, it's Rupesh.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah, my
please.
question is, how extent are we gonna use integrations in HCM, like general perspective in real time?
In real time, see, when you say integrations, there are two aspects to it. So first of all, whenever any client implements a Fusion Cloud, there would be a requirement to load the data from other systems into Fusion Cloud. And we do it using a data loaders, HDL, HSDL. And obviously, there would also be a requirement to extract the data from Fusion Cloud and send it to downstream systems. Now, what could be the scenario? Let's say Emerson is implementing modules in Fusion Cloud. Emerson has implemented Fusion Cloud. And assume that they have implemented only global HR absences and other modules, but not payroll. And assume that Emerson is using ADP to run a payroll. What is it that we have to do? On a daily basis, we might have to send a feed from Fusion Cloud to ADP. What do you do in such case? You would be creating a HCM extract to extract the data from Fusion Cloud and send it to downstream systems. You can even write a BI report or a HCM extract to get the data out of HCM Cloud, send it to downstream systems. And as part of the course, we would be covering the data loading part, data extraction, using HCM extracts and the BI reports as well. And apart from all of this, and when we do the HDL, when we do the HCM extracts, we would see how to do it manually. But there are ways to automate it as well. And that's exactly what Oracle Integration Cloud team will be doing. They would be building integrations to automate the data upload into Fusion Cloud. They would be automating the data extraction process and sending it to Fusion Cloud. So all of that is taken care there in case it gets complex. Okay.
Yeah. So when you say Oracle team will be doing the integrations part, does it come under
I said OIC team, Oracle Integration Cloud team. They are also a team from Emerson or team from Deloitte who have that integration skill set, not from Oracle product team.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got it. Like what I'm asking is, none of those automations are made by HCM team?
No, we are no way concerned or no way involved in it.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, Nitin.
Yeah, just quickly wanted to know. So after these trainings, like your team was mentioning, like we will have like live. We will be working on live projects. So how different will be? What are the hands-on we will be doing on these topics, and then what will be
Now, when we
covering in
do
that
the
live implement?
when we do the actual training sessions for every module, I would keep referring back and forth. Live project is not. Don't expect that it is something big that comes up at the end of the course, and the entire 2.5 month training program is just some basic stuff. That is not the case. When we do the training sessions, each and every session, each and every topic that we're going to cover, we would be talking only about the real-time scenarios. And very often, I would keep referring back and forth to the config workbooks of our real-time projects so that you understand what we are setting up here and what exactly Prasad has done for a couple of clients in a real-time project. Okay. So when we say real-time implementation projects, when we do the training sessions, we'll be taking, say, Emerson as an example. And I'll also be opening up config workbooks of, say, Bank of Kigali here or a Cornwall Council here. So a couple of real-time client config workbook projects, I'm going to open it up and I'm going to show you what are the legal entities that they had and how exactly did we get this information? How do we configure them? Each and every session will keep referring back to the live projects, that the live config workbooks that you are seeing here. So by the time we complete the course, you would exactly know how to implement these modules for real-time requirements, because we're not going to just take one example. We would be taking one example when we do the setups, and I would for every setup I would also be taking a couple of additional client use cases as well, so that you can relate to it well. Okay. Gayatri?
Okay. So team was mentioning like, after the session, after the training, we'll have
No, that's
other live sessions. So maybe
you don't have. No, the point is, we used to do it that way a couple of years back. Maybe I need to talk to customer care and sensitize them on the new approach that we are following. Instead of we doing all the setups and then opening up those config workbooks and teaching you that this is how it works, it would be much better and it would be very easy for everybody to understand and invite those concepts if we refer to those config workbooks each and every session that we are doing. Okay?
Yeah, no, definitely. And you will be sharing books
Yes.
and with us as well, sample templates.
Yes.
After the training. Okay.
Not after the training. After you pay the fees, you would, in the onboarding email itself, you would have a link to it, because you would need them for every training session that we are going to do. Okay?
Yeah, definitely.
And with this, we are done with the free demo sessions, guys. So we would be enabling passcode on the meeting tomorrow. If you want to continue the training sessions, please do send us a WhatsApp message on this number. Team will let you know the enrollment process. Do finish off the enrollment and team will send you the passcode. And when you join the training sessions from tomorrow, it would prompt you to enter a passcode. Check your email. If you have made a fee payment, completed the enrollment process, you would receive a passcode by 1 or 2 p.m. tomorrow. Use that passcode to join the training sessions, guys. Okay. Gayatri, Aman Kumar, if you have any questions, call me on this number tomorrow after 11 a.m. anytime, and we will be able to discuss that. Okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, go on with your question. Yes, it's just a couple of you. Let's go ahead and real quick. What's the question that you have?
Yeah, actually, yes,
Mhm.
yes. My question is like, I'm completely on Oracle PLSQL background. So is there anything that needs to be learned before going through this Oracle technical or functional HCM?
You don't need to learn anything before you join the course. Okay, your PL SQL knowledge is much more than enough for you to learn master the functional as well as technical skills. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Aman, thank you.
Yeah. So as we are covering each module and project wise simultaneously, so like during interview tab, so do we get the interview how to answer all those questions, like so that it will be look like the real time?
So you once you understand the concept, you should be able to answer all the questions related to the concept. We would also be sharing interview questions as well, so that you can understand what sort of questions would be asked and how do you answer them. Okay. Admin, not sure who has logged in as admin.
Sorry, Sajitendra here. So actually, I'm from integration background, OIC, worked on for 2 months. But I want to, so when I see the openings, they look for the ERP experience like.
Okay, can you give me a call on this number? Looks like we need a detailed discussion on it. Call me on this number after 11 a.m. tomorrow. We'll have a detailed discussion. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.